Oh my goodness, this building is just growing and growing and getting bigger and bigger by the second. Greetings and welcome back to Medieval Engineers Minion Village. That's right, we're going to do some more building of our Minion Village. Alright, let's crack on. There have been some strange occurrences here in the Wonder Workshop world. I don't know if this is more shenanigans of the shaman from the Fallen Forest barbarian clan, more machinations of their curse that they've laid upon us, which is continuing to afflict us in all sorts of ways. Performance is a bit of an issue, lighting is still an issue, all sorts of issues, many issues, but I love this game so much I'm just going to persevere through them. So let's crack on. Today, this is of course the Minion Village. No minions around at the moment. I am going to obviously import some Minion clones in as well at some point now that we have them available to us, but not right now. First, we're going to get some more stuff built up. I'll probably build them their own special house as well, because I don't think the regular minions would care to have Minion clones wandering about the place with their distinct lack of intelligence just now. So what we're going to build instead is we're going to build an inn, or a kind of a tavern type thing, somewhere for the minions to be entertained, for them to, you know, drink and sing raucously and all that good stuff that minions so love to do. And I think we're going to pop it just here, just in front of the bunkhouse, coming out in this sort of direction, maybe just off of the edge of this ledge. So let's switch over to a bit of post-commentary whilst we speed through the process of laying the foundations for the Minions Inn. Now this took a little bit of time because I didn't really have a brilliant idea in my head about exactly how big I wanted the building to be. Plus I had to do a little bit of messing around with the terrain, as you can see, just improving or just pushing back areas to give us the space that we needed. I added a little bit more on this side. The idea for this building is that it'll be effectively two halves. You'll have one half which is just a courtyard area with perhaps a little stable or something in it, and the other half will be the inn itself proper, which will be primarily a large ground floor area for drinking and partying and all of that good minion stuff, lots of raucous activities. And then there'll probably be a few rooms just for travellers to stay in, and all the rest of it sort of upstairs or in the back, depending on how it works out. But I kept increasing the footprint because I figured it needed to be reasonably substantial, and because obviously you've got this sort of 2.5 meter block size, it limits what you can do somewhat. However, in the end, I also decided that I wasn't happy with where I had chosen to locate it. Good. The more I think about this, the more I think actually that this inn should probably be down right off of the main road. I mean, where would you put an inn? You'd put it right off of the main road, wouldn't you? So let's just move it now. Right, let's just move it. Are you sure you want to copy the selected object? Yes. We're going to move it, and we're going to chuck it lock, stock, and barrel. We're going to turn it around, and we're going to pop it down. I guess that's probably okay, like that, isn't it? Yeah, we can conform the terrain to that. I'm sure we can. What we do need to do, of course, is lower the terrain, because there is all this stuff intersecting it now, so let's just do that. Now you have to be a little bit careful when doing the terrain. It's worth taking your time over it, because there's no undo function, so if you delete a big chunk of terrain, it can be very difficult to get it back to a reasonable shape. Great, there we go, done. And now that we've got a little bit more space, shall we just extend it? One more row. It's going to be quite a big building, this. It's got a large footprint here, but actually not all of this is going to be the building. So let us get our building pieces, and we'll just map out the building part of it. And the way I wanted to do this was just to lay out the ground floor, the first level if you like, so that I could get a good idea of the ratio of main building to courtyard, and make sure that I was happy with everything before sort of proceeding on to the higher levels and the more difficult parts of the building that are more difficult to undo and change once you get to that point. I mean, once you've got the ground floor set, if you start building the second or third floors and you decide you want to change the layout of the ground floor, it can be tricky. So yeah, if you know of any good props or mods that add tavern-y type things, do let me know and I will check those out. Let's put a door in. Alright, so this is going to be sort of like one building, and then we're also going to have like another building coming off the side here. So we're going to have this coming across like this, and it's going to be quite a small building. What I wanted here was to make a stable outbuilding, like a little place we're able to keep their non-existent horses, which hopefully at some point will arrive. But I couldn't decide on the size. At 3 across, it seemed a little bit big, so I tried going down to 2. And well, no, I've changed my mind. Again, I keep changing my mind. And now we've had a collapse. This is what happens when you faff about. Delete that. Delete all this. Repairs are needed here. Yep, repairs will often be needed if you mess around too much. The spirits of medieval engineers frown upon indecisiveness, so it's best to stick with your plans as much as possible. A nice wide doorway so you can get the non-existent horses in and out, and then for visual interest, and because I think it fitted, I wanted to have this stable building to be just single-story with a little peaked roof, whereas the main inn was going to be multi-story, so you'd get a nice 2-level effect, like that. There we go. You see, that's going to be nice and pretty cool. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And it's going to attach to the side of this, which is going to be a double-story building, at least a double-story building. So I think we should be all right to just kind of build it up for the time being. It might collapse on us. You never know. These things do happen in medieval engineers. But we're just gonna whack a second floor on it right away. And then we might look at sort of shoring that up a bit with some supports and things as time goes on. So we finish up adding the second level walls to the main building, and once this is done, I took a little step back and I had a look at it, and it looks very boxy, as they often do. So I decided to add visual interest. We would put a balcony running all the way around the outside edge of the second level, and this will have doorways leading into various rooms and things, and it increases the usability of the building and the function of the building, but most importantly, it just makes it look prettier. It makes it look more visually interesting, because especially once you put the handrails on the balconies, it helps to break up the silhouette of the building and make it look like a more real building, a more realistic building. So there we go. We did that, and nice. I like it. I mean, it's going to be quite a grand building, this, actually. But that's fine. We don't mind. It's going to be grander than I had perhaps. It's probably going to be more like 3 stories, actually, once we build the roof on it, because the roof's going to go. Look, if we start to build, should we want a single peaked roof, or do we want it kind of like just sloping in one direction, as I previously alluded to? Let's go for a regular peaked roof again, which, as you can see, is going to add another couple of stories worth of height to the buildings, which is going to make it that much taller again, but it does give us more room for extra rooms and storage space and stuff inside. Oh, it's coming together. Now, the minions, they are going to love it, because at the end of the day, it's going to provide them with all the facilities they need. Good, there we go. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, this is going to provide them tons of space in here. We can have a nice, like, large bar area here. There can be guest rooms in here, maybe. I mean, I'm actually concerned I might have made this a little bit too big, a little bit, like, you know, quite a bit bigger than I had originally planned, at any rate. But let's face it, the bigger the building, the more partying the minions can do. And the more partying they can do, the happier I'm sure they will be. We just decided we needed to add a little bit of support here to the exterior balcony, so that it could take the weight of all of the partying minions, presumably. And then we turned our attention to the roof. And the roof is going to be a bit of a tricky part, because I wanted 2 different types of roof here. I wanted the thatch roof for the barn, and then the red slate roof for the main building. And they're going to meet in a slightly awkward way. But we started off by laying the thatch down, which went more or less okay. We've got 2 peaks and then the top bit. However, we did get a slight problem just as we completed it. What's wrong with you? Alright, that fixed it. This is probably going to break it again. I think that's done. I think we've a lot of faffing about, and I think we finally managed to fix it. Now, rather trickily, this bit here is going to be, because we've got a peaked roof coming up, I don't think we've got any way of making this sort of mesh nicely. Indeed, I don't think it is possible to make this kind of setup work and mesh correctly together. 2 different roof types with different slants just don't want to operate together. I may be wrong. If you've managed to get this to work, I'd love to find out how you did it. If you've got 2 kind of separate sloping roofs of a different type meshed together, I think it might be possible to do it if I made them the same type, but they're at different types and they're at different heights. So in the end, I decided to add another floor to the back of the building to give me a nice flat section for the roof of the stable to butt up against, which of course does make the building quite a bit bigger. Oh my goodness, this building is just growing and growing and getting bigger and bigger by the second. So this, I think, is going to work, and I start building it out and sort of almost creating it as a separate section to the building, but inevitably little problems start to crop up when you're working at this sort of in this sort of way. I hate it when it moves at that last second. It just goes, oh, you want me here instead? and moves down, and you're like, no, I don't want you there. And now, because of the combined blocks, I've almost certainly put entirely the wrong thing somewhere. Alright, fine. That's kind of in place. Looks a bit drafty. Looks a bit unfinished. Despite a few niggles, actually, it was starting to come together pretty well, and we're going to wind up with 2 roofs just displaced by 1 level, which hopefully will look kind of interesting when it's done. However, I was starting to become a little bit concerned about structural integrity, and so let's sort of build up some internal structure here a little bit so that we've got some type of support. We'll get some pillars down. Should we use round pillars? We have some round pillars. And we'll just have them there. There. Good. Fine. Let's put some floorboards down to see. No problem then. Got some high stresses there. Should we just see what happens if we complete the roof? I'm really nervous that it's just gonna all suddenly come crashing down. This looks a little bit dubious here. Can we maybe put some supports in place? Like that. Either side of the door, maybe. Has that helped? Oh, that's helped. It's helped quite a lot. Let's just see if it holds. If it all comes crashing down, then quite honestly, it would probably have made an even better video. However, the building continues to take shape. We put the rest of the roof on. It comes together pretty nicely, actually, I think. And most importantly, it all seems to stay up. Seems to be okay, eh? I think they may have made the roofs quite a bit lighter. I know they keep mentioning in the patch notes that they're tweaking like structural integrity and weight and things, especially on stuff like the roofs. But this all looks pretty good, pretty stable, you know, pretty together. So, please excuse the horrible mess of terrain here. We will come back and sort that out at some point. So all that was really required to finish off the exterior structure of the inn was to put the roof on to the rear section. And because of the extra height of this section, I decided it was worth reinforcing the walls a little bit with stone pillars just to give it a little bit more rigidity and a little bit better structural integrity. With that done, all that was really required was to add the roof, much as we had done previously. Same colour, same type, just chucking it on. There was a little bit of an issue at the point where it joined with the stable roof, but otherwise it all went perfectly. All right, there we go. Let's have a look. Let's have a look from down and away. Like I say, there's no windows or anything yet. That's just the external structure. There's a little bit of unpleasantness there where the 2 roofs kind of touch each other or intersect. It's a bit weird with the whole kind of 2 leveled roof bits that we've got there, but maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's a bit freaky. I guess we'll just have to see if we can live with it or not, and whether when we come back and look at it again next time, it's all right, you know, if we can put up with it. We haven't done any internal structure or anything yet. We need to get to that. I think I'll probably leave part of this at double height, and maybe back here we'll put sort of like multiple floors in with sort of like guest rooms and stuff. It is an inn after all. It probably needs a kitchen and some other bits and pieces. I like this little courtyard area. We could, you know, we could give it some barrels. Just kind of, you know, gussy it up with a few barrels. Make it look a bit more like a courtyard. If that is the sort of thing you would expect to find in a courtyard. I like this little wood walkway. It adds a bit more visual detail to the outside. Oh, the minions are gonna love this when it is finished. Bit by bit, the minion village will build out. Yeah, it's very simple building, but at the end of the day, it's not about the building so much as it is about the minion village as a whole, kind of evolving and growing and Alright, there we go. That is the Minion Village Inn structurally completed, more or less. There's still need a few windows and a few doors and a lot of furnishing and internal structure and all the rest of that good stuff. But basically, it's good to go. I didn't mean to press that button, but that is awesome, look. Sire, I am your servant. Oh, I'm totally using that again. Right, anyway, I have been Weird Wizard. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and I will see you later!